to the Australian Championship.
Shot up the post and in. Continue to make history.
This rivalry emerged as bright as ever.
That is just spectacular. It's incredible. Fairy tale.
Cut back to Akio, glorious chance! Marconi hit the front! Still going, Noah Anderson!
Oh!
Continues for Heidelberg, Angus Taylor! Oh, that's special! Humpers, great footwork. Fletcher's free on the far side, it's Fletcher Fulton, and it's 6. This is a bloodbath.
Well, after 50 minutes of thunder and lightning, the second half of the Australian Championship group stage is finally upon us. And with it comes a Friday night blockbuster to open round 4. The storms and showers of Sydney, well, they haven't dampened the enthusiasm at Marconi Stadium, where the venue, which is known locally as the Palace, hosts an occasion to match. Marconi Stallions and Heidelberg United facing off at the top of Group B. They are two NSL heavyweights who have contributed so much to Australian football's fabric and to its future. But tonight, it is Heidelberg United on the hunt for history in a new era. They are top of Group B, and 3 points tonight will see the Warriors become the first team to qualify for the Australian Championship quarterfinals in this, their 43rd game of a monster season. Standing in their way, though, sitting in second on the Group B table, Peter Sekenis' Stallions. They are out to avenge an opening day defeat to the Warriors at Olympic Village. And they are hot on the heels of Heidelberg thanks to back-to-back wins against Wollongong and South Hobart respectively. They've gotten the job done against the other teams in Group B. And now the Stallions are looking to serve a slice of revenge at Club Marconi with top spot firmly in their sights. It is first v second in Group B. It's a Victorian versus New South Wales clash. State bragging rights on the line. And on Halloween night, well, there has been plenty of frightening lightning and thunder, but this is a match that promises to be far more treat than trick. Great to see that despite the inclement weather, the fans have huddled for cover underneath the resplendent grandstands here at Marconi Stadium, one of Australian football's most historic and premier footballing facilities. A ground that has stood proudly in its current form since 1972 and been host to no shortage of big battles between these two in years gone by. It's the first time we're seeing this clash at Marconi Stadium for 31 years. Haven't met at this venue since 1995, when Marconi came back from behind to defeat Heidelberg by a scoreline of 4-2. And they are hoping for a repeat dose tonight as they look to take top spot. And we've even got a nice turnout of what looks like active supporters as both teams get ready to make their way out onto the pitch at Marconi Stadium. I can give a quick welcome to Roy O'Donovan. Roy, this is a blockbuster game on Friday night in the championship.
Yes, Lockie, it's my pleasure to be here to witness two heavyweights of the old NSL and current Australian Championship at the Palace. The atmosphere is building, and I can't wait for the game to get going.
The FIFA anthem ringing out as is custom, and it is Marconi, the second place side in Group B, currently sitting favourite in the live poll. Of course, if you want to cast your vote, you can scan the QR code on screen or head to australianchampionship.com.au and hit the game day tab. But interesting to see Marconi just edging that letter, albeit by a fractional margin, in the wake of the undefeated Alexander side that stands before them. 3 wins from 3 so far in the Australian Championship. Hoping to take 3 points from the Palace for the first time in a long time. Just going through the official pre-match formalities. And you may have noticed a lot of familiar faces in that Marconi 11. Well, that's because there hasn't been a single change to it from last week. It is as you were in the starting side for Peter Sakenis. Tasmordakudis leading a back four that will feature a familiar face for Heidelberg fans. Former Oakley Cannon Anton Lenaric. Marko Jesic will captain the Stallions in game number 285. He'll be sitting behind the attacking front three of Franco Meyer, Will Accio, and championship top scorer Damien Sakenis. Meanwhile, 4 changes for Heidelberg. Last week's 6-1 smashing of South Hobart gave the chance to rest a few of John Anastasiadis' stars. So it's a full refresh in midfield. Anthony Lesiotis, Asahi Yokokawa, and Jay McGowan all coming in to the midfield three. Max Basetto injected into the attack, where new signing Kieran Bramwell holds on to the striking spot, which means that top scorer Buljuach will stick on the right-hand side of the front three. Puzzled expression on the face of Marconi head coach Peter Sakenis. Game number 261 in the Stallions dugout for him this evening. He's taken this club out of the second tier, brought them back to silverware contention and silverware success, and now he's hoping to lead them on a deep championship campaign. And talking about deep campaigns, well, he's got plenty of smiles on his face now, John Anastasiadis, but he has been through a warrior campaign this season. 43 games for the Burgers so far. Here's your referee team for this evening. It's an experienced head in New South Wales, Jake Rose, in charge of this one, Ben Lapilio, and Cameron Wright running the line. As we go through the final pieces of procession here at Marconi Stadium. And Collins, the 25-year-old captain of Heidelberg United, looking to lead his side to another successful performance this evening. They have lost just 5 times all season. One of those, of course, in the Australia Cup final. It's the second NPL team to make that stage of the Cup competition. So far, Heidelberg this year, they have played every single game available to them. 26-round regular season, full gamut of finals in NPL Victoria, Doherty Cup finalists, Australia Cup finalists, and now they are plotting a course for the knockouts of the Australian Championship. Great to have the musical stylings of the Alan Parsons project setting the scene for this one. It is a Marconi custom, that one ringing out before kickoff. And if it wasn't hotly anticipated enough, this fixture, an extra 15 minutes of wait has only intensified the appetite. But at long last, was in readiness to get this one underway. A big round 4 game on your Friday night at Marconi Stadium. And this one, Roy O'Donovan, is anyone's guess as to which direction it could go, because Heidelberg United have got the form. They have the recent history of having beaten Marconi a few weeks ago, but you cannot write off a Stallion side who have had the last couple of weeks that they've had, especially at home. Especially
at the Palace, yeah, you're right, Lockie, and they'll be hurting from that loss early in the season.
We have picked the ball off early here. Marko Jesic looking to stand one up into the middle. Oh, it's a lovely volley too. It's Tyron Burney who puts his hands to his head. Promising early signs for the Stallion support, who have turned out in solid numbers in spite of the tricky conditions here in Sydney this evening.
Well, yeah, the thunder and lightning has passed over the stadium, but hopefully we see plenty of thunder and lightning tonight on the pitch. And if Marconi started their press early on, it's not anything to go by. We're in for a great game tonight. That ball from Jesic to Tyron Burney at the back stick was terrific.
He's a man who is no stranger to a lovely surface on offer at Marconi Stadium, even if he hasn't made full advantage of it that time, in Jay McGowan. First season in Victoria, having previously spent 5 years with the Sutherland Sharks. He scored a couple of cracking goals home and away against Marconi this season. I'm sure there will be a few at the Palace who remember that. least, Peter Sekenis. You can see the incredible history of this club as Yokokawa sets his sights from a long way out, and has to do a little bit better than that to trouble James Hilton. But four-time NSL champions Marconi, one of only 2 clubs to have played every single season in the NSL. And he was a pretty decent NSL player himself, John Anastasiadis with South Melbourne. Spoke to both coaches in midweek and asked them what was your opinion, what was your memory of playing against the other. And Peter Sekenis, Roy, he said, I used to hate playing against John Anastasiadis. I'd spend the whole time chasing him around. And John Anastasiadis said, I used to hate playing against Peter Sekenis because he'd always leave a mark, and he was a tough defender.
Isn't that brilliant when they're reminiscing and they're trying to be polite about it? Basically, he's just saying that Peter Sekenis used to kick him all over the park. And Sekenis is saying that he used to come up, Johnny A used to come up with a late goal to hurt him. So, terrific.
Certainly 2 greats of the National Soccer League, 2 of the premier coaches beyond the A-League in the NPL system. Both presiding over a much anticipated battle this evening. As the rain certainly hasn't wiped the smiles off the faces of those who have made the journey, which is great to see. Of course, it was the Burgers who emerged victorious when these two met just 3 weeks ago in the opening round of the championship. Anthony Theodoropoulos scoring a very fine goal from outside the area in the second half to split the sides, but it was a game, Roy, where really the scoreline was almost misleading. It was actually a very even game, and Marconi had plenty of chances to avoid going goalless.
It really was. As you can see here, Heidelberg making the charge.
Bramwell, great cutback. Buljuarch, super save by Hilton. Still alive through Besetto. And now cut back to Humbert, who bends the ball in. It's a loose ball. Yokokawa pulled wide. A few big warning shots fired by the Burgers in the opening 5 minutes.
Well, this is shaping up to be a very open game. Great run in behind. Lovely inside run from Buljuarch. Great save by Hilton. And even here, Besetto done very well to stand it back up. That's a great save.
Well, James Hilton, he is not the reigning NPL New South Wales goalkeeper of the year for no reason. If you haven't watched that competition this year and you're not familiar with his goalkeeping stylings, that is what he's got to offer tonight. And even a goal scorer as good as Buljuarch, 28 goals in all competitions this season, will have his work cut out for him. As Marconi look to come the other way now. Akio feeding Sekenis, and now the cutback for Meyer is just taken off his toes by Anthony Lesiotis, but a great early pace to this one.
This is shaping up to be an epic tonight. The pitch is perfect, the Palace is primed, and both teams want to play attacking football. Strap in.
Let's take another look at the fine margins here that denied Marconi that chance. It is great last-ditch stuff from Anthony Lesiotis.
Yeah, actually very clever from Sekenis. Lovely run down that channel. Tried to cut it back for Yesic, but good defending in the end.
First set-piece opportunity of the evening for Franco Meyer of Marconi, and peeling off at the back stick was Mordakudis. And a few half-hearted appeals for handball. No whistle from the referee, Jake Rose. There's a lovely little run from Tas Mordakudis. A number of players, including Harry van der Sarg and Yaron Souza, who you just saw, have cut their teeth in the A-League as full-time professionals previously. And this competition is giving many of those sorts of names a chance to show again what they are capable of on the national stage. Not that Heidelberg needed more examples of that, Roy, given their exploits in the Australia Cup. 3 A-League teams knocked off, and one in the final, Newcastle Jets, they fell just short too. Yeah,
just short, but yeah, they've certainly used the platform of the Australia Cup this year to show what a good and well-organised unit that they are. But Marconi equally have been terrific in the NPL the last couple of years. Have come very close to silverware, so this is shaping up to be a great game.
Franco Meyer checking onto the left boot, swinging the ball in. Sekenis is the target, and he just couldn't keep it alive. And the chances are yet to arrive in the direction of the goal Marconi attacking. You have to admire the puck selection from both sides so far. There's been some really nice pickouts.
I love it. I love both teams are playing attacking football. Franco Meyer, Sekenis' movement, Jesic's cleverness for Marconi, and going forward, McGowan, Buljuach, Bisetto. The names, the list of talent on that pitch could go on and on.
There's a lot to like. What greets us this evening, McGowan is going to lose out that battle to Tas Mordakudis. He contributes 48 of the 254 games worth of A-League experience that's out there in the park tonight. And certainly not your average NPL sides taking the stage this evening. Fletcher Fulton. A little leave by McGowan. Can he find it at the opposite end? Nearly is the answer. Shown out of play in the end by Anton Lenaric. A man who, no doubt, Lenaric will be hoping to keep up his fine record against Heidelberg United. I mentioned that brief stint in 2023 with the Oakley Cannons. 100% win rate against the Burgers, including the Doherty Cup final. It's the State Cup in Victoria. That one picked off nicely by Humbert. Actually, the incident will be pulled back for a free kick for Anthony Lesiotis. The interesting selection quirk tonight, Roy, as we take another look at the incident that led to the free kick. Pretty cut and dry is the fullback situation for John Anastasiadis tonight. Fletcher Fulton has come across, having spent the season at left back, playing on the right, and one of their Australian Championship signings in Marcus Humbert, who's been on the books of Melbourne City's youth program as a midfielder, is playing over at the left as they did last week.
It's very surprising, and Johnny A is always throwing up us commentators little challenges and little puzzles to work out before the game, but I am very interested to see Franco Meyer and William Accio, how they shape up against Fletcher Fulton and Marcus Humbert, because as you said, they're very attacking players, which says to me they're going to leave some space in behind for players with that kind of guile and flair. So yeah, I'm just going to watch that one intently for the next 5 or 10 minutes there. It's intriguing me.
And here might be a chance for Accio to pick at some of those gaps. The Canadian has done wonderfully, and now it's a chance for Marconi through Sekenis. That is blazed away. That is a promising cut through the centre of the Heidelberg attack.
This is what we're talking about, William Accio. He's got this ability to change a game, and Sekenis' movement so far, he hasn't found his range yet in front of goal, but his movement has been terrific.
This one, an awkward one for Lenaric. And he won enough of the ball to make the contact on Buljuach a moot point. And Accio, certainly one who has lit up the Palace in the last couple of weeks. His maiden Marconi goal last week against the Wollongong Wolves in a 3-0 win. And it was just as impressive as him getting off the mark in Marconi colours was his backflip celebration.
Absolutely, I've seen you do that once or twice, Lockie. Very impressive.
Well, you've got to prepare for games like these somehow. Everyone's got their process. Even Peter Sekenis, one of the great revelations from the game last week, his pre-match sort of breath work that he does before games. Bit of a almost meditation-like practice to get into the zone for matches like these.
Yeah, he looks very zen as well. He doesn't look like a yogi, does he? But good on him. He's embracing the modern.
Here come Marconi down the right through Sekenis. That one easy pickings for Ben Collins. He's happy to launch it long in the Buljuach direction. Marconi defenders have got their work cut out for them this evening. Juach's 28 goals for the season have come in 24 games. This Marconi defence, though, far from slouches. Conceded the least of any side in NPL New South Wales, and that was without Anton Minaric for most of the year through injury. And if this one sits up, it will afford Fletcher Fulton a fair bit of paddock with which to work. Akio coming back, Fulton driving it in, and the Marconi touch a crucial one to divert it away from the waiting Bull Juach. McGowan. That's Yokokawa. And Bramwell has just not been able to trap that one. And race on for a moment at least. They're going to play in the end. Let's have another look at this opportunity for Heidelberg. This was a crucial touch in off the cross.
Yeah, it was great defending in the end by, I think it was Milinaric at the back stick there, but it just goes to show you, Fletcher Fulton, right or left side, doesn't matter to him, he's an attacking player. Great ball, great area. And Bull Juach would have ate that for breakfast, like Shooter McGavin used to say back in the day.
Defence at full stretch. Without the danger, well, after putting in such a tantalising cross, that is not Fletcher Fulton's best moment. There goes Marco Jesic. The whistle arrives and they filtered out to the far side. Forward comes Meyer, but it's not his best purchase. Did make his return to the scorer's sheet last week from the spot against the Wolves. In a game that had just about everything, Roy, except for a really hot contest on the score sheet, but red cards, random incidents that I won't get into, goals galore. It was something for everyone at the Palace last week.
No, I think it's going to be the same tonight if this first 14 minutes is anything to go by.
Lovely touches by Jay McGowan. This is a wonderful run from the youngster. And the finish just escaping him at the crucial moment.
Well, this game has started at such a pace, hasn't it? It's end to end. It's a basketball match early on, and all but short is a goal so far. It's been excellent viewing.
This is exactly what you want to see, Roy, from your young wingers, isn't it?
I love that from Jay McGowan, and he's bedded in so well at Heidelberg, but Bull Juach there as a striker, drop it into that number 10 spot. Very clever. Defenders don't want to go, and it just sets McGowan on his way. Terrific football. Just here. Links up, and then he's basically saying, you go, take the space. And doesn't he just? Everything but the finish.
He's a man who hasn't scored since back-to-back games in May, and perhaps that is the strike of someone who is in a bit of a drought in front of goal. It's not the first time this evening. Bull Juach, I remember that earlier chance that he ended up being on the end of, but it was his sort of run to pull the defender away that created the space for the ball over the top initially. So even when he is not scoring goals, he is creating problems for this Marconi defence.
And it's so important as well. As part of being a good striker is holding up, linking the play, as well as being a good goal scorer.
Meyer on the move. Meyer upended. Jake Rose responding swiftly with the whistle. Here comes George Daniel. Attacking fullback, trying to buy a yard against Jay McGowan. It's clever work from the 24-year-old Heidelberg winger. Marconi going to try and knock Heidelberg into this territory. And the pressure of the Stallions does pay. Franco Meyer peeling away. On the outside of the foot pass was well intentioned, but not reaching its target in Tyrone Burney. Tyrone Burney, who has played every minute of Marconi's campaign this season in all competitions. Akio rises. And the whistle goes against the home side. Probably not the first one that's the issue, but George Daniel crashing in over the top.
Clever from Jay McGowan though, he just knows his surroundings, had a little scan, sees a blue shirt coming and he just puts his body in the right spot.
It's a bit of a home pass from Yaron Souza. A touch in from Ryan Lefley, and a crucial one because Marconi numbers were lurking around the football with serious intent.
Yeah, you're right, Lockie. I think Marconi are, as the home side today, and having been beaten earlier on in the season by Heidelberg, they've certainly started with a really high and energetic press, and they don't want Heidelberg getting any sort of rhythm in this game.
It's one of the beauties of this 6-game round-robin Champions League format. Obviously, 4 groups of 4, the top 2 teams going to the quarters. You get to play teams once again. So if you have a mulligan the first time around, you've got learnings to go into the second, as opposed to the Cup, where it's 90 minutes and it's over. Home or away, you never get the chance to right that wrong, unless it is literally luck of the draw in future years.
Correct, yeah.
George not able to keep that one alive, out of play easily. Well marshalled by the man they call the Warden, Anton Mlinaric at Marconi Stallions. It's part of that first choice back 4 alongside George Daniel. Mlinaric has been available. This has been largely a set and forget back 4. That's good high pressing though from Heidelberg. Through Anthony Lesiotis. Marconi forced to clear. And Akio's body feints a clever one. He's giving away the free kick. And Fletcher Fulton. Marconi Stallions fans, they're going to have the home field advantage, Roy. But suffice it to say, they were not best pleased that this didn't go their way.
Yeah, he's probably a little bit handsy there. That's the only thing.
Pick the ball back up here and distributed to Bayless. Marconi's captain, fantastic, Marco Jesic. Just happy to wait for the troops to arrive. Tyrone Burney. Stayed sideways for a moment. I've got a chance to see what Marconi can do in a prolonged phase of possession. Maya just offside that time around. It's going to be really interesting to see how Marconi do manage those phases of the game, because they're a side, Heidelberg, who are revered for their attacking exploits and their front foot football, but they also lay claim to the best defence in the championship, having conceded just the one, and the best defence in NPL Victoria this season. So a team who are gifted both going forward and going backwards.
Yeah, really. And but look, you could say that for both teams. I think Marconi, as this kind of Oz Championship is warmed up, going forward, they've been electric as well at times. And I mean, I don't think it'd be going above and beyond to say we could be looking at a potential winner of the competition here tonight as well. So this could be just a little practice game for the finals time.
Yeah, this one, two sides who gave so much to previous eras of the game in this country, and maybe good testaments of the more things change, the more they stay the same, because a new era, and they are once again looking like two potential heavyweights in this championship competition.
It's great to see. It's a new era, but blending the old with the new. It's great.
Anthony Lesiotis. Set piece duties for the Burgers. It's a little clip towards the far post where Humbert rose and didn't collect. Lumped away by Mlinaric. Isn't working with a lot of real estate on that far side, so just has to head all the way home for Souza. We've got two goalkeepers of the years. I think that's the correct way to say it in their respective states. As that one's been picked off. A huge chance coming here for the Stallions through Sakenis. And it's a solid save by Souza. Made his body big. Chance still alive though. Marconi send it in. Yesic the target. Tipped away by Souza. And a good body feint from Asahi Yokokawa just to relieve the pressure. For a moment. Sakenis with the second crack. Yesic got up. Collins collects with the ball at feet. And that will be, even if the finish was lacking, Roy, a moment, an opportunity that will please Peter Sakenis no end.
Great movement once again by Damien Sakenis. But you would have put your house in him there as well. That's what he's waiting for. This high-risk football that Heidelberg plays so well, but at times when it's not right, you're susceptible to the counter-attack. And Sakenis, I thought he would have going to lift the ball over Yaron Souza there when he went through.
And he's, of course, one of the equal top scorers in the championship so far, courtesy of that hat-trick against South Hobart a fortnight ago. Did break a bit of a barren league spell heading into the championship. 11 goals in all competitions for Damien Sakenis this season. It was unorthodox from Souza, but it's been made to work. Flicks on to no avail of any of his teammates. Marcus Humbert getting a chance to march forward. Not able to do much with the open pasture afforded to him by the Stallions. Filling in that left back spot vacated by Fletcher Fulton tonight. Fulton is playing an unfamiliar position on the right side of the defence. Well, he's playing an unfamiliar position on an unfamiliar position, because when he first arrived at Heidelberg, he was a winger. He was a winger when he came across from Moreland City.
Well, John Anastasiadis knows better. He seems to like to tinker with things and change formations and kind of positions for people, but it's worked very well for this squad, I must say. The way he's bedded this squad in over the years, you talked about it earlier on. They've had 2 cup finals. Very unfortunate to lose an Australia Cup final. Of course, they won the NPL Victoria Cup final as well. So they're a team that, you know, he's built something over time. And it's the same with Peter Sakenis. It's amazing when a coach gets given a bit of time and starts to put into practice, you know, what they preach. And players like Fletcher Fulton have just kind of grown under his tutelage, you know.
Yeah, it was a squad as well that lost over 890 games of experience in NPL Victoria. They had a big off-season changing the guard. Some of their club legends left, and they've managed to replenish well. Here's one of those replenishments in Fletcher Fulton, breaking onto the left. Clever little turn at the top of the box by Max Bassetto. But it all comes to naught, and you're absolutely right to give Peter Sakenis similar credit. It is, owing to the stature of Marconi, easy to forget. And he has brought them out of the second tier. And we've had a bit of a change in the poll after the opening 25 minutes. Heidelberg have edged ahead. You can scan the QR code on screen if you want to cast your vote as it drops to the top of the box. And away comes Bassetto. No whistle. Advantage played by Jake Rose. McGowan. Winning a couple of challenges. Lesiotis. Now Yokokawa, numbers amassing and turned out for a corner by Anton Lenaric.
Nice patient build up there from Heidelberg. And the ball into a great area as well. You see it here again in the replay. Yokokawa found himself in a nice little spot in behind. Lovely patient build up. This was the Harry van der Sag tackle earlier on. Forcing never a foul, according to him.
So Yokokawa won the corner. Now he will take the corner towards the back stick, headed towards goal as well. And into the grateful arms of James Hilton, who, having seen that one come through a sea of bodies, wouldn't have had a lot of time to react.
No, and Jay McGowan got good contact as well. He kind of arrived unmarked at the back stick, which is be a worry for Peter Sekenis and his Marconi coaching staff there. There'll be questions to answer at half time, but James Hilton was in the right spot.
Still only 23 years of age is James Hilton. 5 years at Marconi now, having come through the youth ranks. To make his senior debut in 2023. Staked his claim as now not just one of the best keepers in New South Wales, but probably one of the best keepers outside the A-League. Van der Sag launching long in the direction of Marco Jesic. The second ball is going to fall kindly initially for Akio. Fulton setting a task for Duach. Hilton caught it hot off the feet of Mlinaric. Had to clear. It was a clearance made to look very good by James Bayliss as well, it must be said. It was a very nice touch. That was not half bad at the first instance from Franco Meyer. An under ball favouring Ryan Lethlean. Bramwell on the move for the Burgers. McGowan, Buljuach in the middle, away by Murakudis. And then cleared more emphatically by Daniel. Akio just on Fletcher Fulton's case at every available opportunity. That was a great idea from Anthony Lesiotis. I don't know if Yokokawa was perhaps picking up what his midfield compatriot was putting down.
Well, yes, it was. He was practicing the dark arts there. Yokokawa wasn't getting to that ball on his watch.
Two.
There you go.
Marco Jesic, the wily veteran of 37 years of age, in absolutely no mood to give that one up easily.
No, there was grey hairs in that beard have got a little bit of wisdom in there.
He's a living legend of the Palace. Marco Jesic, over 280 games now as a Stallion. 10 straight seasons, helped bring the club back out of the second tier. The club that resides just around the corner from where he was born. Bayliss looking to set one up at the back post. Akio keeps it alive, but it's only catching practice in the end for Yaron Souza. And now Akio has got to get on the bike. As Fulton and McGowan try to link up, it's George Daniel who is brought down in the physical coming together in the lead-up.
Yeah, but as soon as Yaron Souza, the goalkeeper for Heidelberg, catches that ball, they're trying to counteract straight away what Marconi are doing. So you're kind of at your weakest here when you attack the way both teams are playing. They want to sucker punch you.
It's a 30 minutes of first half football that, even if we had to wait a long time for it, has by and large flown by so far. Entertaining contest without a goal to show for it as yet. And Jesic was in between a rock and a hard place in that battle with Ryan Lefleen. It's a risky pass across the defensive penalty area that forces Yaron Souza into a clearance. The passes that neither side tonight is afraid to make if they want to try and change things up.
Correct, yeah. Well, look, Heidelberg certainly are not afraid to take a high-risk approach, especially playing off in the back. It's almost cost them with that Sekenis chance earlier, but it's been more than positive for them so far in this Australian Championship and overall this season.
Smile trying to keep that one alive, but a little bit too overzealous in his attempts to do so in the eyes of Jake Rose. You can see Anthony Lesiotis is not best pleased with the contact. I made a great point earlier, that Marconi really seemed in the last couple of weeks to have found their gear in attack as well. Of course, it feels harsh to say this of a side who have scored 7 in the last 2 weeks, but in all 3 of their games, they probably, and Peter Sekenis has said as much, feel as though they could have come away with more goals in this stretch in the championship.
Yeah, they've got so much speed and energy in that final third as well. They're a danger, and the way they play, I've said it a few times already, Jesic drops into these little pockets, he drags people with him, but Franco Mea, Damien Sekenis, their movement is terrific. And on their day, they can hurt you. And so far, Heidelberg haven't been hurt, but big test today for Ben Collins and Lefleen at the back.
And Will Akio has really been the sprinkles on the Sunday of what was already a high-functioning Stallion strike force. Often you see a defender, a central defender, try and pull moves like that.
Tas Mordukatis there has got a couple of acting credits to his name, I reckon.
Well, I was, for what it's worth, I was trying to praise him for attempting to put it through the legs of an opposition marker. But that's like art, you know, 2 people can look at the same things and make very different conclusions.
I didn't see that. There you go.
McGowan out to Fulton. He's racked up the kilometres in this first half. Good interception by Mlinaric, and then it's a fair forearm to the face of Harry van der Sarg, and it will bring about the first card of the evening's action. Jay McGowan comes back to the Palace and marks his return with a spot in the referee's pocketbook.
Yeah, well, this game has been quite physical, and referee Jake Rose tonight, he's let a lot go, but this one is a little bit tasty. Definitely a high forearm, a little bit of elbow there.
We want to give players the benefit of the doubt in that sort of situation and say that the elbow contact is incidental, but the lead was with the arm at the same time.
It doesn't look great when we slow it down like anything. I don't think Jay McGowan is that type of player, to be fair. It's just Harry van der Sarg, maybe the position he's at, the pace he's going, it's unlucky, but yeah, I think Jay McGowan's a little bit lucky that Jake Rose is a calm referee. He hasn't rushed in there with a red card. He's got the yellow ticket out and he wants to play on with the game. Van der Sarg is feeling it though.
Those ones do not sting. Of course, VAR in the Australian Championship, not that we would need it for this particular incident. Really did come up very quickly. Van der Sarg, great to see that he is going to be all good to continue. He has been a fantastic addition for Marconi since signing from Manly United. His junior club. It's been a year there, having come out of the A-League system. And what's been interesting about his arrival at Marconi, Roy, is that in the A-League he was a fullback, a central defender sometimes, not often a central midfielder. As Jesic drops it back to Bernie. Bayless tried to tee it up for Jesic again, but Humbert was alert and responded swiftly.
But yeah, go back to Van der Sag. Yeah, we know him as a fullback, as a centre-back for Sydney FC in Adelaide and Brisbane. He does a great job in that number 6 role now for Marconi. Big physical boy.
So the Moz put on him by those in the commentary box that time around, but
I blame you.
yeah, I'll take that one. Oh, lovely stuff from Will Accio, who is around Fletcher Fulton with relative ease. Wonderful run, and the shot just lacking the required purchase to trouble Yaron Souza, but well, not for the first time for Marconi. Everything is looking great right up until that final finish.
Yeah, Accio done terrific. Again, he's lively, he's creative. I love that. He picked the wrong option there. Sekenis and Jesic had pulled off their men there, and he needs to get his head up. But yeah, he was seeing the headlines tomorrow there, I think, when he had that shot.
Certainly a player who has earned the rights to strut his stuff for the Stallions, for one of the premier clubs in the NPL system. Will Accio tore it up in the capital NPL this year for Tigers. 13 goals in 20 games. Braces in the semi and grand final of that competition, which the Tigers won. Player of some pedigree before that as well. Professional experience in Canada with the likes of Valor. A few players have played in that competition, currently calling Marconi home. And in the Scottish Premiership as well for Ross County. Here is Accio on the ball. Daniel tries the angle ball for Marco Jesic, but he is many great things at his vintage, Marco Jesic, but perhaps having the pace to latch onto a pass like that is maybe not one of them these days.
No, not pace, but he's certainly got the cleverness to get a yard on a defender, as we saw last week when he assisted William Accio's goal. He got into that little pocket of space and his cutback was terrific. So yeah, he has got that element of surprise in him though.
Sometimes it is not about the speed of the legs in a fight, but the speed of the mind. And that is definitely still sharp as attack for Marco Jesic. He may not be fast. It doesn't, or as fast as he used to be. It doesn't stop him from covering plenty of ground. Peter Sekenis will be the first to tell you that when you look at the GPS stats at the end of a game, he is usually still up at the top end. Fulton and Accio come together once more. This time it's Accio who wins out. It's the final 5 minutes of a really gripping first half's action. Upon us at Marconi Stadium. Another big weekend on the way in the Australian Championship. I just saw a dinosaur costume in the background. The Palace catering to all comers tonight. Sekenis twisting and turning and not able to weave his way around the Heidelberg defence. Even if the Stallions faithful thought that it should have been a corner at the end of all of that. Not to be. I knew I wasn't seeing something. They have encouraged this evening, of course it is Halloween tonight, they have encouraged people to turn out in costumes. I reckon if they're giving out a halftime prize, Roy, for best dress, that's going to be hard to top.
That's up there.
I think the prize is actually a Marconi jersey, so it's a decent bounty on offer if you're a kick collector. Great to see this storied club engaging the young players as well as the fans who have watched them before in the National Soccer League, as Bramwell shows a bit too much of the football to Franco Maya. And Souza decides he's going to go on a little bit of an adventure. He's sweeping the field. Now, Franco Maya, was that a long ball in search of Sekenis, or Was it a half attempt at going? We have seen him try to chip the keeper a few times in previous games, much to the sometimes disagreement of his teammates.
Yeah, no, he's certainly got that quality in his locker, but I think their tactic tonight, how quickly can they get the ball to Sekenis on transition? I think he's overhit it slightly there.
There's a man who puts too many feet wrong. Franco Meyer. Neither does that man, Tyron Burney. Absolutely superb signing he's been from Blacktown this season. And Collins on the move through midfield, the central defender. A fantastic run. And now Buljuach opens up the angle. Was he clipped from behind? No, says the referee. And Marconi can't afford the other way through Akio. Jesic giving chase. Headed away by Yaron Souza. He's bringing out the full gamut of slightly unorthodox goalkeeper tactics this evening.
He is, he's confident, I'll give him that, but I'd like to see that Buljuach chance again, because his footwork to get him into the box in the first place was terrific. Why would he go down, is my question.
Perhaps it's because he's got such a great penalty record this season. Let's have another watch. There was that tug of the jersey, but there was no contact beyond that. And we get another opportunity here. Buljuach. The answer is no. An incident like that, a tug of the jersey, does that fall under the realm of one of those things where if it happens in another portion of the pitch, maybe you see it given?
Yeah, look, there's definitely a little tug at his shot, but he still has a chance to get his shot off. For me, I still think he has to get his shot off and then let the referee make his decision. He's gone down a little bit easy, if I'm being truthful there. But beautiful skill leading up to it. That little touch to make his angle, make his yard.
Only two reasons I could think you'd head down in a situation like that is if he's genuinely lost his footing, or when you're as good at penalties as Buljuach is, he has scored 9 this season. Perhaps you want to seek out those opportunities.
Yeah, but he doesn't need the penalty. He's a goal machine. He's scored bags of goals this year. He's full of confidence. Yeah, maybe he's lost his footing. There's no need for him to go down. The only thing I will say after he took that beautiful touch is it took him too long to get the shot off. That's my only gripe with him.
Of course, there will be a bit of extra slip in the surface tonight. They do usually water this ground before kickoff at Marconi Stadium at the instruction of their head coach. No need for that tonight. As Van der Sarg lofts the ball to the top of the penalty area. Heidelberg heads first to it. Recycled by Franco Meyer. Did that come off a hand of Murakudis? After a little snapshot from the defender, Jake Rose agrees. And Staples tracking 2 extra minutes onto the first half.
Lucky, we've seen a couple of games together this season so far, but I must say this does not feel like a 0-0 draw at the moment. The way this game has gone.
Took the words right out of my mind, because I was just about to make the point that it feels like another one of those games where it's 0-0 in sort of scoreline only. It feels like it should have more. And it has been a familiar feeling of late for Marconi, even if they have been troubling the scorer's sheet. If there's one thing you can rely on, it is Heidelberg United to score. They are currently on a ripping run, having scored in 50 consecutive games in all competitions. The last time they went without troubling the scorer's sheet in a fixture, 481 days ago, round 21 of the NPL Victoria season. Against the St Albans Saints, a 1-0 defeat. All 50 games since, they have scored at least one. 98 goals scored for the year, which is 3 away from the Victorian football record. Can either side change that goalless ledger in the seconds before the break? And maybe one last chance in it if Jake Rose is feeling generous, as the needle's threaded in the direction of Bassetto. And Leflin is trying to stop that one from growing any more promise, because he's the central defender. He knows the gap that is available in behind should he be rounded. And that's why he's doubling back quickly, but it won't matter because the opening half comes to a close on as even at Marconi Stadium. We are goalless at the break, but it has not been for a lack of trying. Still much to come in this top of the table Group B clash. At halftime though, it's Marconi Stallions 0, Heidelberg United 0.
Is this the most iconic symbol of football's history in this country? The giant ball at Marconi Stadium shouts nostalgia. It's been restored to former glory and still towers proudly above the ground known as the Palace. Oh, yeah! A rich history and dominant recent past has played out on its hallowed turf.
What an opportunity! Timokowski it is, and he opens the scoring.
4-time NSL champions, 4-time New South Wales champions, a surface graced by some of our nation's very best.
Good switch in play. There's space on that far side. Ocon. Mark Jones has made the overlap, but Ocon comes inside. Still Ocon trying the shot. It takes a deflection and scores.
Footsteps set to be followed by today's team of Stallions in the Australian Championship. They're the club as responsible as any for the rejuvenation of second-tier football. Heidelberg United has tapped into its rich heritage and nostalgia for yesteryear like few others. And in the modern day, there's no high achiever like them. The big-ticket items in the burbs are because of the burgers. From Costas Katsouras to King Kenny to Cupset.
Heidelberg United legends cement his place in burgers folklore.
After Cupset,
Bull Juach, Raging Bull, strikes with 15 minutes left to play.
after Cupset.
They're back on the front foot. The effort, brilliant Bassetto, curling it into the top corner.
Heidelberg has mixed its history with modern Australia to enter a golden era. An era that now extends to the Australian Championship.
I'm a son of an immigrant that came from Greece with nothing but hopes and dreams. And football created not just the chance to watch your team, it was a hub where people met future brides, future husbands. It was a hub where you got jobs. It was a hub where it gave you confidence, where you felt that you could speak your native tongue and not be worried about what anyone else would say. But now the championship allows those teams with that multicultural DNA to really embrace, celebrate, honour those before and those after.
The beautiful thing about these clubs, Sydney United, Marconi, Apia, the kit that I'm wearing today, the beautiful thing about them is they're not just for Italians. They're not just for those communities that found them, and it's expanded. Like, just speaking on behalf of Apia, Joe Marsden, the first ever Australian to play in an FA Cup final, was an Italian. Rally Rasic, one of the most famous managers in Australian football history. And then even you take it now to the Apia and Marconi teams of today, they've expanded now to be not just a team for Italians, which is what they were founded on, but a team for everyone, for any Australian football fan, for any nationality. You look at the national team, for example, look at the names. Chikati, Irankunda, Mohamed Toure. It's such an exciting, young, multicultural Australian national team. And that's what this country was founded on, but I also think when you look at these clubs, that's what football in this country was founded on as well. So I think it's a really exciting time.
That's my favourite part about what's happening now, the momentum with these clubs. When I played there, it was very much focused on the past. What I notice now when I walk through those gates, there's a lot of talk about the future. You know, even when things sometimes don't go to plan in Australia, even when mistakes are made, football is still this beast that it's never going away. The next generation of kids, they're growing up playing football video games. They're collecting vintage football kits. They're wanting to engage on all social media platforms with the world of football because it's the game that the world talks about. It's the game that the world cares about.
There's always that will to win every competition you're in, particularly at a club like Preston. We don't really like second or third or fourth. I don't like second or third or fourth. We want to be the team. We want to be the team that everyone fears. We want to be the team that everyone respects.
Look, I think it's exciting for everyone, not just for me. It will be the first one, which is exciting to be part. I hope we can have a good run and we can win the first one. For me, success is like create something bigger more than win a title.
It's not about dwelling on the past, it's about understanding why we are where we are. Why are we at 6 straight World Cups? You know, why have we produced all these good players? Well, it's because we've had this great professional league, the A-League, but we've also had all these clubs before it that have produced generations of players. That's why it's in our blood.
We'll talk about places that have produced high-quality players. The Palace, no exception. 6 Socceroo captains, no less, have come through these hallowed grounds. And tonight, they are serving up a very entertaining, but as yet, goalless top-of-the-table clash in Group B, Roy O'Donovan.
Yeah, well, it's been a very attacking, entertaining game. As I said to you before, it doesn't feel like a 0-0. And some of the chances here, you don't understand how it still is.
This was one of a number spurned by Damien Sekenis in the first half, but it wasn't an opening 45 that really was controlled by either team. Both of them gave as good as they got. Heidelberg will probably lay claim to the best chance through Paul Duarch in the opening few minutes. There have been good siders here and there from both teams. This was probably the big one for Marconi.
This is a big chance for Sekenis. I thought here he's going to lift the ball over the keeper. Last second he changed his mind. Good movement though.
Just stretched the leg out at the perfect moment. Did the Aaron Souza. Will Accio was a real handful for the Heidelberg back four. His shooting was just lacking him in the crucial moments. And then this was a big penalty appeal right before the break for the Burgers.
Yeah, well look, there's definitely a pull on the shirt. There's no doubt about that. I suppose you and me kind of arguing at half-time there. Is there enough to go down? For me, I just think he takes too long to get a shot off, and he kind of used that as a bit of an excuse, I think. His touch here was brilliant. He beats the man. No, shoot, no, too late. And then he knew that. I think he's gone down then. I don't think there's enough to give a penalty. I think the referee made the right call there.
Yeah, it didn't strike you as though he'd actually lost his footwork in the movement of shooting. A game that has not been shy on exactly that so far. 11 shots notched up by both of these sides to the interval, and you can see the evenness of this game so far reflected on the stat sheet. It's been a tempestuous affair as well. 25 fouls so far. Heidelberg leading that figure. Plenty of fire and brimstone on this Friday evening that has had thunder and lightning as well. And it is an Australian Championship competition that has had plenty of fire so far, and Marconi have shown plenty of that. At the Palace so far, this was one of their 3 from round 3, and the best celebration of the weekend, Roy.
Outstanding celebration. I mean, hopefully we get to see that tonight, because he's been definitely one to watch, William Accio.
This was a huge one for the Metro Stars, a come-from-behind win. And we've had no shortage of great goals in this competition. I'll let you play deflection police, Roy. Your former side, that was a cracker from Auglada.
Yeah, Ollie Ogla, he's capable of that though.
He did conjure up a late response, Morton City in this game, but not enough. And then this was the shock of the Sunday action. 6 first-half goals. You've only seen one of them before South Hobart pulled one back in the second half, and what a brilliant one it was.
It's a great goal, but Heidelberg were unbelievable last week in that first half. What a goal that was as well.
Yeah, another superb finish It sent a shockwave through Christie Park, but the comeback came courtesy of Aiden Kyra and sets the groups up like this. South Melbourne top, one of two teams with a perfect start to the Australian Championship so far, ahead of a great big Greek derby tomorrow against Sydney Olympic. And as you can see, Heidelberg and Marconi top of Group B. Heidelberg, if they can win this one in the second half, will be the first team to qualify for the Australian Championship. So still so much more to play with and play for on the other side. And plenty across the weekend as well. That Group C is just one of the best that you'll see. Avondale and Spirit leading in the top two positions, but Canberra, Croatia and Preston Lions still in with a massive chance. While the shock, really, of the championship, Roy, has been Bayswater City atop Group D.
It really has been a shock, but they've been terrific, very well organised, very well drilled. But going back to the other group there, Preston Lions will feel like they left some points on the table last week.
Yeah, they've got a chance to make that right on Sunday when they take on NWS Spirit. But before that, Super Saturday, Canberra, Croatia in the early kickoff against Avondale at Deakin Stadium. And then your old mob, Roy, Sydney Olympic taking on South Melbourne in the Great Derby.
Sydney Olympic, lucky.
Absolutely no bias here. Moreton City getting us kick-started against Broadmeadow on that Sunday. But we're going to turn our attention back to a big second 45 here at the Palace. A top of the table clash in Group B with plenty more drama on the way on the other side of the break.
The spectators must refrain from any disorderly conduct or conduct that may injure the reputation and goodwill of the FA and the code of football generally. Any person who does not comply with this spectator code of behaviour or who otherwise causes a disturbance may be evicted from the venue, may be banned from attending future matches. Football Australia extends our thanks to all our partners, SBS Mitre and Movember, for their support. Marconi Stallions FC gives special thanks to our principal partner, Domain Homes, building quality, affordable homes for Aussie families for over 40 years. With the rapid expansion in the southwest, now's the perfect time to explore their house and land packages. Ideal for new families starting fresh, upgrading their space. Just like our team, they're all about
second
strong
half.
foundations and great results.
Seconds away from getting underway at Marconi Stadium. This top of the table clash in Group B to kick off round 4 in the Australian Championship has had just about everything except for the game's opening goal. Two teams in Marconi Stallions and Heidelberg United who find themselves scoreless after 45 minutes played. Neither will want to end that way at the end of the 90. Not least this Heidelberg side who have scored in 50 straight games and can wrap up the first spot in the Australian Championship quarterfinals with a win. Although striker the Stallion, the Marconi mascot, will be hoping that that does not happen tonight, as he is, it looks like he's doing a bit of trick-or-treating with the juniors, which is great to see. It's a good mood amongst the inclement weather, not least because we've had a fantastic game of football so far. Bring on another 45 minutes of Friday night football in the championship. And fingers crossed, Roy O'Donovan, that we are just as entertained in the second as we were in the first.
Yeah.
With one big exception.
Yes, the goal. We need a goal, but it was a highly entertaining first half. Two good sides going at it. And once they get their shooting boots on, I'm sure there'll be some goals in this second half.
Franco Meyer push to Tyron Burney. Knocked back by Sekenis. He had probably Marconi's two best chances of the first half, as you would expect a striker to do. Interesting that after second half kickoff and out of possession, Heidelberg have settled into a sort of 4-4-2 shape off the ball. Talk about how John Anastasiadis prioritises versatility and players who can play a variety of positions. There were some eyebrows raised when the lineups came out for this, Roy, and Buljuach, their top scorer, was sitting on the right-hand side of the three, but it looks as though that has in some way corrected on what we're seeing on the pitch.
Yeah, well, you can see that. Like, Kieran Bramwell is an out-and-out number 9 striker, big target, but the pace of Buljuach, he's kind of wasted out in the wing. So I think a 4-4-2 suits them. Away from home, they can settle into quite a comfortable defensive block and still be dangerous on the counter.
Daniel getting forward, finding the angle for the cross, and Soder is able to collect despite the menacing presence of Marko Jesic. Set to open his Australian Championship account. A poor pass picked off by Franco Meyer. And so too from Sekenis. Lesiotis will just watch that one out of play for a Stallions throw.
But I think Marconi do that really well. Jesic made that run in as the number 9 in the box. Sekenis and Meyer are quite happy to kind of interchange there. Great to watch.
Duach. First touch took him into trouble. And Bayless was able to gather. Such a reliable midfield contributor this season for Marconi. James Bayless, the former Mariner. Played almost every game this year, having missed most of last season through injury, as Bassetto is on a dazzling run. The former Western United winger slides it across. It's lofted into the box, and Hilton sails through the evening air together. And it's Marconi come away from that phase of play without any serious danger.
Really good play from Bassetto, though. Very positive. He's deceptively quick.
It's a nicely disguised ball to find Damien Sekenis. Burney. And Heidelberg able to get their defensive numbers back in place.
Look how deep they are now. Is that a bit of a change at half-time? They're happy to settle in and soak up a little bit more pressure and being susceptible to the counter-attack all the time, possibly.
Marconi are going to get a set-piece opportunity on the way here. Fletcher Fulton pleading his case, but you can see the evidence right there before you in the form of an upended George Daniel. Two fullbacks coming together, and I dare say Fulton didn't get a great deal of the ball.
No, he's lucky he kept his studs down as well, I think. Jake Rose could have been running over a different colour card there, but a wholehearted challenge. I don't think he meant to hurt Daniel.
Touched on that potential tweak from Heidelberg. Of course, the best chances that Marconi did have in the first half, they did come through Heidelberg turnovers, getting themselves sort of picked off in possession. So maybe that's inspired the more conservative, perhaps, approach from John Anastasiadis in the second half.
Definitely. I think he'll be a lot more comfortable on the sideline knowing that his team is not going to be in for a basketball match, and the pace they've got on the counter-attack, he's happy to sit in, I think.
Let's see what Will Akio can produce from the free kick. Marconi fans behind the goal will be sucking this one into the net. But it depends on the delivery. Bent in by Akio. Decent shape as well. Headed clear by Collins. Sekenis. Bouncing back pass for Bernie, who heads all the way home. Heidelberg able to bring up their lines. It's big responsibility on the shoulders of the Stallions set-piece takers. Of course, their creator-in-chief, Dom Costanzo, leaving this club he's called home for such a long time on the eve of the championship for West Sarpia. Buljawac and Murdakudis re-engage their battle. Clever touch from Akio to slip it into the path of George Daniel. This heads backwards for Murdakudis. For those who are hoping to avoid a repeat of last week's goalless draw on the Friday between Preston and Avondale, good news, these two are second half goal scoring sides. The Burgers in particular leave their work late, but they have a great chance here through Kieran Bramwell. Hilton off the line to snuff out the danger. Really well judged by the young Marconi keeper.
Excellent goalkeeping there, almost like a sweeper keeper. He's earned his match bonus tonight there with that one.
Good hustle by Akio. And we've got Peter Sekenis playing ball boy. Of course, all the actual ball boys have gone off to do the halftime trick or treat. Ooh. Even unseemly coming together there between Sekenis and Ben Collins. The first review, it was perhaps one that Ben Collins extracted the absolute maximum out of it. Let's have a second glance, Roy. A bit of chirp and then...
Yeah, he's tried to... Ben Collins, the wily old pro, tried to sucker a young striker in there. And he's taken the bait. Referee again, nice and calm. Just gave him a talking to. Sensible.
Certainly a player with wisdom and composure beyond his years is Heidelberg captain Ben Collins. Hard to believe he's only 25.
What? Tough paper round.
Only 25. Did have a crack at full-time A-League football with Western United. He was their academy captain. Only a handful of games at the club where he obviously had a pre-existing connection with John Anastasiadis. Connection that is bringing the best out of them these days. So he is about to be called back into action here. Free kick coming the way of the Marconi Stallions.
But we've said it in previous games as well about Ben Collins, how important he is when he's on the park. He really is such a leader. He reads the game so well. His physicality in the centre of the pitch along with Lethlean, who those two as well. That partnership is outstanding. It's what the rock of the Heidelberg defence is built on, really.
There's probably a fair argument to make, actually, that between those two and Kasmil Kudus and Mlaric at the other end, we've got the two best central defensive pairings in the championship right here at the Palace tonight. So on the left side, it was Will Accio. On the right, it is Franco Myers' left foot on set-piece duties. Decent whip, but Heidelberg first to the football. Mlaric. Nodded forward for George Daniel. Fleet-footed fullback. Can't get the beating of Fulton this time. McGowan. Inside for Bramwell. It's a heavy first touch, but the second, third, fourth and fifth, far better. The pass lacking.
But you can see there, when Marconi win the ball back, they're still trying to counter-attack, but now Heidelberg are set up in a more defensive block. They're more secure. So it's harder to get Sekenis away in a 1v1.
Yokokawa. Heidelberg win it back just as quickly as they lost it through Collins. Left on its way by Fletcher Fulton, who's got to tuck in to cover the gaps. We'll judge that one by Ben Collins. Heidelberg have played 43 games now this season. He has been on the pitch for 42 of them. Missing only the Doherty Cup final through suspension. Hilton gobbles that one up. Both keepers have shown a real keenness, Roy, to get the ball moving basically as soon as they collect it.
That's the way the modern game is now. As a goalkeeper, you can't just be a good shot stopper anymore. You've got to be a goalkeeper that can play out with his feet. You've got to be a sweeper keeper, protecting that back line, almost being that next line of defence. And these two are actually great exponents of it as well. Their front foot goalkeepers really positive with their play.
Yokokawa always looks so assured in possession. Japanese maestro for Heidelberg United. This is a wonderful run down the right from Fletcher Fulton. Bramwell's best work. It's a delicate pass inside for Bayless. And there's the advantage of the slight tweak in that defensive depth again for Heidelberg. The long ball is coming from Marconi, but increasingly Alexander are more wise to that danger.
Just more secure. Johnny A is more comfortable on the sideline. He's not pacing his technical area. And when they get the ball back, they're good in possession, so they can build up. They just got to be a little bit more patient.
Buljuach, foot race with Mordekudis. Great physical battle too. And well, Juach rewarded for his hard work. He wins a corner.
Good striker play, make a bad ball a good ball, and he certainly did that. Got his body in there, forced a mistake, and now his team has a set piece and a chance to score a goal. With the big timber coming up from the back in Collins and Lethlean.
Marcus Humbert coming over to take the corner, looking to find the head of their top scorer, Buljuach. It's not a situation that Peter Sekenis and his assistant Peter Papothis will want to see. Bent in by Humbert, front post header from Besetto. Bounces the right way from a Marconi persuasion. And Bernie just clears straight out into touch.
Marconi are struggling to find an answer at the moment. They haven't really adjusted to Heidelberg's tweaking tactics, and the long ball and the counter-attack, direct counter-attack is not going to work now. They need to play their way out, and they haven't seemed to work that one out yet.
Perhaps a time where Peter Sekenis You can see he sent a few substitutes to go and warm up, where you think about maybe supplanting some fresh legs into that front three. You've got a player in Jake True who has been a reliable performer off the bench, not always a consistent goal scorer, but bags of pace. Well, they could make us look very silly here, as here comes Marko Jesic. Wonderful first touch. It's Jesic! Always bending away from the goal, but it's the kind of moment that Marconi have needed in the last few minutes. Something for Heidelberg to think about.
It was a lovely ball. Pretty poor offside line from Ben Collins, really. A player of his calibre. And Jesic, he'd be kicking himself there. That's a side on goal for a player of his ability.
Could he have taken that?
I reckon he could, yeah. He had more time and space, yeah.
Good to see some unity amongst the camps. Alexander and Marconi scarves side by side. Jesic has managed to pick that off again. Meyer feeds the overlapping run of Tyrone Burney. To pick a gap in this set Heidelberg defense from the left this time. It's proving a solid one so far.
Marconi just probing though, much better. Got to play a lot more through Van der Sag and Bayliss in the midfield there. They got to move that ball quick.
And not like that. Luckily, Jay McGowan couldn't make much of the opening afforded to him by Tasmor Kudus. Meyer was caught in a Heidelberg sandwich, and it's the free kick for his troubles.
He's good at that though. He's a good exponent of using your body and using other people's your strength against their weakness as such. They try and nick the ball. You use their kind of their weight and their balance to go the other way, and he does it really well.
And we were wondering which coach on the sideline would be the first to blink when it comes to the substitutes. Turns out the answer is John Anastasiadis. Chok Dow and Angus Taylor both coming onto the field. Both in their first season at Heidelberg United. Taylor in one of his first few games, but he has had quite the start. The man signed from MPL Tasmania. Goal against the Wollongong Wolves in their last trip to New South Wales. And an absolute thunderbolt against South Hobart in the opening 3 minutes last week.
Yeah, we were surprised not to see him in the starting lineup today, Angus Taylor. That goal he scored last week was an absolute humdinger.
Akio did well to evade the challenge of Heidelberg's midfield general, Anthony Lesiotis. Lovely curved ball over the top. Jesic again the target. This time Collins wins the battle. And Fulton under pressure from Akio. And wins the free kick. Peter Sekenis, well, he does his pre-match meditations, his breath work. He was up off his seat for that one.
There we go. I think he needs to keep himself calm before he loses the run of himself on the sideline. But gotta say, Marko Jesic is finding his way into this game now. He's finding some lovely little pockets in behind the defence. As you touched on earlier, he probably hasn't got the pace to get in behind, but he's certainly finding some lovely space, and it's gonna, if that keeps happening, it's gonna lead to trouble for Heidelberg.
It was one of the things that was so important about the chances they created in the first half, that movement from Sekenis was the focal point then. This is the incident that led to the free kick, with which Marconi are not best pleased.
That's not much in it, is there? Just a bit of a push, wet pitch, he fell over. We move on.
Risky ball straight through the guts. And punished by the Stallions. It's a draw, far from a bad result for either side. Keep them both in the top two spots of this group. It's really a matter of whether or not Marconi if they want to take this group, they need to win tonight, as it's wound in towards Sekenis and Akio from Maya. Out of play for a Stallions corner.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think regarding Marconi, I think they'll want to set a marker tonight. They want to show Heidelberg they're not afraid, especially if this is going to be a team they see in the later stages of the competition. But how long before Peter Sekenis goes to his bench? That's the interesting part now.
How long until we get to see this corner delivery? Because first, Jake Rose has got a bit of sorting out to do in the hustle and bustle of that box. Now it comes in from Akio. Great shape on it too. It's a scramble. It's a fantastic stop from Yaron Souza. Akio back in. Flicked on, header is in. What a way to score your first Marconi goal. Harry van der Sarg opens the scoring. And for the first time in the Australian Championship, Heidelberg United find themselves on the back foot thanks to a fantastic header from Harry van der Sarg. It may have come at some personal cost to the midfielder, but cramp aside, the Stallions won't be bothered.
Well, terrific delivery in the first place. I want to save that is in the first place from Milinaric, but they kept it alive. Akio with terrific delivery, and that is an unbelievable header from Harry van der Sarg. What a goal, and didn't they love that? What a save from Yaron Souza.
It's insane reflexes. It'll count for nothing, but the follow-up header from Harry van der Sarg is as good as it gets. A man who's played centre-back, right-back, central midfield. Maybe Roy O'Donovan, he should be a striker.
He can play anywhere when he heads the ball like that. What a goal. Even Yaron Souza, a goalkeeper in his kind of form, there was no stopping that one.
Oh, no wonder the Palace is in party mode now, because that is quite the way to announce yourself to your new fans from one of the Stallions' 3 Australian Championship signings. And all of a sudden the gauntlet has been thrown down to Heidelberg United by the side from New South Wales. And it is about the battle, Roy, for top spot in the championship. Of course, this result would keep Heidelberg ahead on goal difference. But there's also the state v state element to this.
Always.
And Victoria have had a real good run against New South Wales in national competitions of late. In fact, it has been 7 years since a New South Wales NPL side in the top flight beat one from Victoria. Not since the Australia Cup round of 32, when Tasuku Sakia ensured that Apia got one over Port Melbourne Sharks. So it's been a very solid run for Victorian sides against teams from the top flight of New South Wales. And now Heidelberg have the challenge of having to come back from behind. And will their quest be aided by the addition of the man who scored for them last time these two sides went head-to-head? Anthony Theo, the winning goal scorer last time on the field. And replaces Kieran Bramwell. So, a bit of a reshuffle in the ranks for Heidelberg United. And if you are a member of the Heidelberg United faithful, you are far from hitting the panic button just yet, because this is a number that I couldn't quite believe when I was looking at it in the lead-up. This is just the 7th, or 8th time rather, that Heidelberg United have conceded the opening goal of a game. I don't know how many games, Roy, they've gone on to lose from having conceded first.
Tell me, Lucky.
One. They've come back from behind to win 4 this season, to salvage a point from 2. Only once have they lost after conceding the opener. So Marconi's work, as star-studded defence as they are, far from done in this one.
And look, it just goes to show you what we can see in front of our very eyes. The strength of character Heidelberg have got. So, yeah, strap in for this last 22 minutes here.
And they are known for their ability in Victoria to come back from behind. They're known in local circles by the Alexander faithful as the Cardiac Kids. And the goal scorer will leave to a rapturous applause, Harry van der Sargoff. And it's an equally rapturous applause for the man who replaces him, Mr. Marconi himself, Brandon Vella, turning out for game 283 as a Stallion, the longest serving player.
There's a lot of loyalty in the ranks. It's great to hear. The two coaches have been here a long time. Jesic, Vella. It's terrific to hear people being loyal to football clubs.
And that is the core 4 that took them from the second tier of the state back to the big time. Souza going for another wander.
That man loves a walkabout.
It's good to see that conceding the opening goal of this game has not knocked his confidence, that's for sure.
In my say that he's played a great game. He had nothing to do with, he shouldn't be at fault for that goal at all. That save in the build-up was out of this world.
Heidelberg United scored 38 goals in the final half hours of their matches this season. They are late show specialists. They will need to be again, as Marconi have given them an almighty challenge in the championship. It's Taylor. It's a great cutback. It's the equaliser. And the Burgers are back through Marcus Humberts. Another new signing opening his account and squaring the ledger at Marconi Stadium in some style. A sweeping move from the Burgers, who are back in this contest.
Well, again, terrific build-up play down that left-hand side. Fletcher Fulton, beautiful play interchange between him and Angus Taylor here. So Angus Taylor drives into that space, Fulton underneath, comes inside, carries on his run, that ball in behind. But the cutback and the run from Humbert is beautiful, and that is an emphatic finish. And like you said, Heidelberg's character cannot be questioned. Game on.
And when you see a cross like that and you spot 4 yellow shirts in the middle, you have a reasonably solid idea of what direction that is heading.
Yeah, they're not here to mess around.
John Anastasiadis will be absolutely delighted. That is what you want to see from your new signings. Assist into goal. Marcus Humbert, the latest to open his accounts in new colours.
I think he's been pushed up as well, Marcus Humbert. I think because Anthony Theodoropoulos has come on, he's gone back into that full-back spot, and Humbert's been pushed up into the midfield, I think.
Well, that is his natural position when he was playing as the academy captain for Melbourne City this season in the VPL 1, second tier of Victoria. That's where he played. He's a handy goal scorer there as well, as it's thrown in by Bernie. Flicked on Jesic. Let's get excited when Marco Jesic is having a pop in those sort of positions. They're not content with refinding their footing in this game. The Burgers are cantering forward in search of the lot. Little stabber. Back to Souza from Collins, and this game that threatened goals in the first half took its time to deliver, but it has delivered in some style.
It has delivered, and deservedly so. It's been a terrific game of football, really good standard, really high tempo. The atmosphere is outstanding, and we've seen 2 terrific finishes past, you know, really good goalkeepers. They want to be good finishers as well to beat them.
Lucky for us, there is 17 minutes of it still to be played. Humbert pushes it back to Theodoropoulos. There was one person at Marconi Stadium urging Lethlean to shoot there. He ignored that instruction. Great to see as well that there are quite a few Heidelberg United fans who have made the journey to complement another strong showing in the championship from the Marconi crowd. There's another promising attacking move, Bruce, for the Burgers. Yokokawa. Fulton. Will it fall to the advantage of Taylor? It won't. Vela. Tight turn and out of play for a Marconi goal kick.
Yeah, Heidelberg aren't here for a draw. There's yellow shirts everywhere. There's forward runs everywhere. They're ambitious. They want 3 points there. They're not here just to pick up a point and qualify automatically. They want to do the job themselves. There's your mate.
Yeah, that dinosaur has got their money's worth tonight because they probably run a free Marconi jersey for best dressed in the Halloween comp, and they've gotten a great game of football as well. Still feels as though it has more twists in the tail to offer. If Marconi are legit about taking top spot in this group, then they will really be putting the emphasis on finding a way to break back against the Burgers again here.
Yeah, and there's no reason why we shouldn't think anything else. They haven't taken a backward step even since they've conceded a goal.
The real advantage of a result as this one stands would be probably to Wollongong Wolves, and mathematically South Hobart. It would keep that hope alive for the Wolves ahead of their game on Sunday at home to South Hobart. Chokdow gives chase.
I'm an optimist, but I think South Hobart, I think they're toast.
Mate Busek has come on, and his first involvement is to be scythed down by Ryan Lethlean. In fact, it's Brandon Vela. My apologies, got my 23 and my 24 mixed up there.
Great run by Brandon Vela as well. Really ambitious forward run in behind here. And he knew what he was doing. Just get the touch, take the foul, and it's a great area now for a free kick. Get Milinaric up, get Murdakatis, get him up.
It's not often you see Brandon Vela get that far forward these days. He's had to play a lot of time in centre-back this season in the absence of Anton Mlinaric. And great to hear a crowd of 2,200 in the house at the Palace tonight over the PA system, Roy. It's another 2,000 plus crowd at Marconi Stadium, and in these conditions that is a significant turnout.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say as well. I'm sure it would have been double that, but the thunder and lightning before the game would have put anybody off, and I know there would have been a lot of people out trick-or-treating tonight as well on Halloween night, myself included, but I had to be here to work.
Well, 30 years on from the last meeting between these two sides at Marconi Stadium. Getting a great occasion. It's Franco Meyer went direct, and Souza was alert to the threat. This one, it must be said, far more competitive than some of the meetings Marconi and Heidelberg played through the years. Not that it counts for much these days, but Marconi dominated the head-to-head record back in those times. 19 wins to Heidelberg 7. They are two evenly matched beasts in the Australian Championship. It's not often, Roy, we're obviously starting to speculate about potential knockout opponents. Of course, a draw tonight wouldn't get Heidelberg to that qualification spot that they're within reach of, and they will take with a win. We've already seen nearly 2 full games of football from this match. It's not one you would hate seeing a third time potentially.
It's been brilliant. As I said, there's been 2 goals tonight. Could have been a lot more. Even the tactics have been so intriguing, how things have tweaked and changed, and even Marconi, you've still got a couple of subs on the bench. You talked about Jake True, Jordy Swivel. You know, we got some Noah Anderson, who scored that great goal last week. It still could change so much in the last 15 minutes here of this game.
Sent in by Choctaw. Away only to the top of the box. Oh my word. It's another superb save from James Hilton. And just because no one at Marconi Stadium is surprised doesn't mean they aren't impressed. What a stop.
Well, delivery was decent, dealt with in the first place. Anthony Lesiotis' technique, which we've seen him score against Wollongong a couple of weeks ago. What a save by James Hilton. We've seen some saves tonight, by the way.
Corner sent in, glance clear by Marconi. Juwach sends it wide for Lesiotis, who is upended. And he is not afraid in giving Cameron Wright his thoughts on the lack of a whistle in his favour there. Dare I say it, Roy, not to invoke memories of last week, but that corner of the field.
Pulled some bad memories from Milinaric, I know what you're going to say.
And this is an exciting double sub for the Stallions. Franco Meyer replaced by the Australian Championship's youngest goal scorer last week in Noah Anderson. Still 17 years of age. Mate Bushek coming on alongside him. But Noah Anderson, even though he's played probably less than 45 minutes of football so far in the championship, has been one of its best stories.
Yeah, he's left a mark. Obviously the youngest goal scorer in this competition history. He's put his name down in folklore, but what a goal it was as well. It wasn't just a tap-in, it was an absolute individual bit of brilliance.
And he could be getting on the end of this one here. Here is the young man, Noah Anderson. Bernie's there, but Taylor did his due diligence defensively. The composure of his finish last week was something to behold. Hasn't been at the Stallions very long. Juwach goes for the kick and run, and the crucial part is getting it at the other end. Not able to do that this time around. Good defending by George Daniel.
He's done that very well tonight, George Daniel. I think he's in any 1v1 Julie's had tonight. I don't think he's ever been out of a third gear. You know, he looks so comfortable. He wins fouls. He stops the opposition by whatever means. He's been very impressive for me at left back this evening.
Up goes Akio, not able to win it in the air. And this one hold up. No, Yokokawa has given up the ghost of keeping that one in play. And not least because the final touch was off a Marconi player, so it's a corner coming the way of Heidelberg United. Inside what is burger time in Victoria. 22 goals scored in the final 15 minutes of games. Experts in late drama. Humbert delivers. Hilton didn't fully gather. And Vela is robbed of it by Lefleen. As Anderson gives chase. Injured, he is still a fresh face at Marconi, Noah Anderson. Signed on the recommendation of the man who recently made his return to Marconi, Nicky Carl. He was the technical director at SD Raiders. State second tier for a long time. Came across to Marconi, and his first pieces of advice to Peter Sekenis was sign this 17-year-old.
Not a bad recommendation, that, is it?
Not a bad shout whatsoever. Here's a player whose striking pedigree is well known at the Palace. Geordie Swibble getting ready to replace the super veteran Marko Jesic. Certainly, as is always the case, Roy left nothing out there this evening.
No, he's been terrific. His movement, everything but a goal tonight for Marko Jesic. But he's led that line excellently in his His creativity is vital to this team. What a touchdown.
Sometimes footballers do things that just create an involuntary noise. That was one such turn.
Thankfully. It's a small commentary booth.
Decent ball in. Heidelberg heads get up, but Hilton retrieves, and Marcus Humbert is all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, he's really good in those attacking positions, I must say.
Noah Anderson upended legally by Lesiotis. It's a superb challenge if he got the ball. Jake Rose certainly thought so, and maybe just still steaming a little bit from that challenge in question. Noah Anderson's youthful exuberance earns him a trip to the pocket book.
Is he the youngest player to get booked in the Australian Championship as well?
Default, the two sweetest words in the English language.
Well, Lesiotis' first tackle was terrific. I think you're right. He's a bit annoyed.
Number 10, Asahi Yokogawa.
Akio Raffi coming on in place of Asahi Yokogawa. It's a return home for him. He was born and raised in Camden in Sydney. It's actually the cousin of Sonny Bill Williams, Akio Raffi.
Good knowledge.
So comes from good sporting stock. Moved to England as a child with his family, played in the non-leagues. He's returned to Australia with the Burgers. It's the 11th game of his Heidelberg United career so far. And his first touch of the evening. Is there a late winner on offer at the Palace? It's not as if there's not an enterprising reward on offer for either side should they look to chase it. Marconi will close in, level on points with Heidelberg, behind only on goal difference atop the group. If they can find a way to win, the Burgers will punch their ticket for the championship quarterfinals. Oh, one back by Lesiotis. It's been a busy bee, particularly in this second half. Shows the class of over 5 years in the A-Leagues. It was clever from Bernie. To the pass to Anderson, who wants to run and make things happen moving forward. Heidelberg's defensive shape making that an easier task said than done.
It's great though. I love seeing young players come on and he's just fearless. He just wants to run at people every time he gets the ball. Noah Anderson, terrific to see.
Interesting to see how both sides approach the final knockings of this game. Heidelberg, just because they can qualify for the quarters with a win tonight, doesn't mean that they have to. You ask the question of any coach whether or not this is the kind of game, Roy, you're happy to come away from with a point. But the counter argument is that on the pitch, Heidelberg haven't shown a lot of intent to sit pat with a 1-1 scoreline, and nor have the Stallions for their own merits.
No, and they keep tweaking their tactics and making changes. And match winners they're bringing on as well, both teams. So I don't think any team is happy to take a draw, but if that's the way it pans out, I'm sure they'll take it.
Shot down. It's given away a free kick in decent set-piece range for Marconi. So it was the second ball from a set-piece that saw them score before, and it's the hot heels.
Silly. Really silly. Bad area now to concede a free kick.
It's Heidelberg's 19th of the evening. They have committed more fouls than any other side in the Australian Championship so far. Defensive work to do as Akio leaves his delivery a bit shallow. And now the battle's on. Now the race is on. Rafi has Juach to his shoulder. Will it come across to the star striker? He's pushed just wide. And the chance comes to naught for now.
Well, for all the world, it looked like it was the touch of Juach let him down there. I'd like to see it again. Did Rafi just play that pass slightly behind him? They were comfortable. They were in the zone there.
It's a great initial win by Rafi. And then Marconi trying to launch someone at the opposite end through Busek. And this time, Jake Rose crashes in with the whistle to draw play dead.
Yeah. You don't need to be a referee to see that was a foul.
And it is great to see these fans.
Oh, there's the Yogi. The Yogi's up nice and zen. Look at him, calm.
There'll be another round of breath work for Peter Sekenis at the end of this, but even if you don't want to see them up in arms, it's great to see these fans who've been through the Marconi journey up and about, passionate about their club in a way they haven't been for decades.
This community of people, all the old heritage clubs that have been out of the limelight for the last 20 years, this is their chance, and that passion, you can feel it flooding out from the stands. It's outstanding from both sets of teams that they're still playing and still representing the badge right up until the last minute. Look at that, brilliant.
Oh, it is spot fires abound at Marconi Stadium. Well, he didn't whistle for a lot and let the game run for large portions of the first half, Roy. Jake Rose has had his work cut out for him in the second, and Will Accio, I fancy, is the man who's going to pick up the latest yellow ticket of this one.
Yeah, striker's tackle there, but you asked me a while ago, would either team be happy with a draw? It doesn't look like it. It's full-blooded, it's full of passion. It's coming from the stand, it's on the pitch, it's on the sideline. The Australian Championship hasn't failed to deliver once again.
It's an extra 5 minutes on the way at the Palace. This is the challenge that sent Will Accio into the book. And Peter Sekenis probably just had to temper his critique of the decision in the wake of his yellow card.
Yep, more breath work needed.
Well, it's got the feel of a grandstand finish in the offing in Sydney's West. Went from that goal kick, though. These two sides looking to leave it out there on the field. Most fans haven't given up hope of some late heroics. Of course, this is the final home game of Marconi's group stage championship campaign. They make the trip across the Bass Strait to Tasmania next week. Which, of course, process of elimination means the Burgers will host the Wolves back at Olympic Village. Rafi. Heidelberg looking to finish with a wet sail. It's Taylor. His little flick pass offline and not to the advantage of a teammate. Well won back by Lefleen. Juach. Humberts. Now it's Bull Juach trying to find the shooting angle. Just muscled off the ball by Milinaric. That has been a great battle this evening.
Yeah, they've certainly had a few duels tonight, haven't they? Bull Juach there just couldn't get the ball out of his feet, unfortunately. A good defender in the end by Milinaric.
The top by Theo, not a down by Humbert. And Theo wins it back. He was the goal scorer last time. Could he be provider? Rafi! It's spilled initially by Hilton, but he's able to sweep it up and away from the clutches of the lurking Bull Juach.
A good strike by Rafi. Bull Juach was just lurking and waiting for that little tap in, but like most things tonight, James Hilton has gobbled it up.
I imagine there will be a bit of stoppage time on stoppage time here at Marconi Stadium. How much appetite is there left for either of these sides to find the winner? How much energy is there left in the legs for the late push required? Bayless looking to pull the strings from deep. Marconi can only afford the ball to go sideways for so long. They cannot afford to be turning it over cheaply to Heidelberg. Akil Raffi. Wide to Fulton, who manages just to keep it alive. Restores it to Raffi. The reverse pass was the right idea, but the execution was off. Akio, the lone hand up top, and left lean just happy to stab that one out of play for a Marconi throw. It's just 30 seconds now before we are in the generosity of Jake Rose. Akio's touch escaped him. Heidelberg will get the goal kick. And they will set themselves for one last launch. Angus Taylor, he has been really valuable coming off the bench in this game. Of course, the assist for the equaliser. Just lots of zip on that left flank. He came in as a credentialed goal scorer from Tasmania, but he's proven his worth as a provider tonight.
Absolutely, he's a terrific player. Just shows you the strength and depth that Heidelberg have in their squad.
Launched long by Souza. Which way is this going? It's going Heidelberg's way. Well, in fact, it's not. It's the end of a pulsating top of the table clash in Group B, in which the spoils will be shared at the Palace. It promised much, and on Halloween night it delivered. Harry van der Sarg's fantastic headed opener cancelled out by Marcus Humbert, leaving us with a full-time score of Marconi Stallions 1, Heidelberg United 1. You always go, Roy O'Donovan, into these top-of-the-table battles knowing that they're only going to go one way or another. They're either going to be a fizzler and they're going to let you down, or they will deliver. And I dare say that this one fell on the latter of that column.
Yeah, you're right. It certainly wasn't a fizzler, if that's what you want to call it. It was, as you said, a pulsating contest, a terrific game between two really top sides, and I really enjoyed that one. That's all I can say. Look, it was a proper game of football. There was tackles, there was passion, there was great goals, there was great football, there was tactical contests.
And there was no shortage of chances. This one was a huge one for Marconi. They thought that was their chance, and then up steps
delivery's
Harry van der Sarg.
But look at that from Harry van der Sarg, the way he's trained his neck, and he's got it back over to the far side of the goal, and Yaron Souza, who's a terrific goalkeeper, all he can do is watch as he drops into that top corner. What a goal. What a save that was.
It was unreal, and only exceeded by the technique of that header. You cannot glance them on any sweeter than that. No surprise, the celebration was all guns blazing as well from Marconi's new midfielder. And while their move was one of headed quality, Heidelberg's was one of passing quality. Lovely build-up, Angus Taylor, delectable cross, Humbert couldn't miss.
It was beautiful link-up play down that left-hand. Fulton and Angus Taylor, that run in behind, great delivery. But look at that for an emphatic finish. Humbert actually, when he moved into a more attacking role, he looked like a real threat.
That's exactly what you want to see, and it wasn't the last of the attacking chances. This was probably the pick of the bunch. The technique only matched by the save from Hilton. And this is probably, well, that would have been the one that their star striker Buljawac would have rued, but I dare say at the end of the day, Heidelberg won't be too disappointed taking a point away from Marconi in a game that, as the stat sheet tell us, was an even one out there on the field.
Yeah, I felt like that. It was certainly, especially in the first half, end-to-end stuff. Referee I thought was terrific as well. He let a lot go. That was a proper, as much as a great tactical contest and a great game of football, had a bit of old school intensity and a few tackles as well.
At 33 fouls across the two teams. It definitely had a bit of old school. It was
beautiful.
Tactical quality and tempestuous quality as well. Heidelberg show their appreciation to their travelling fans as they head back from the Palace with a point to their name, and their grip on top spot still a firm one. We sign off from a fantastic final game of this evening, but we have to have a look at the table before we do that, because this is how it's all set up after that game. Heidelberg 3 points ahead of the Marconi Stallions, and one eye on South Melbourne atop that group where they play Sydney Olympic tomorrow. And these ones are also really interesting. Avondale leading a group that is really tight ahead of Spirit, Canberra, Croatia and Preston, while Bayswater City lead Group D ahead of West Apia, Metro Stars and Sydney United. That could all change tomorrow, of course. This the first of a big weekend. Super Saturday tomorrow, Canberra, Croatia against Avondale, getting us started before the Greek derby, Sydney Olympic v South Melbourne. And then it is the regular 5-game gamuts on the Sunday. So much to look forward to across this weekend. And while the weather may have been frightening, plenty of thunder and lightning, this game was anything but. We sign off from a fantastic contest at Marconi Stadium for this evening. The full-time score, Marconi Stallions 1, Heidelberg United 1.